Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna do We Don't Kill Spiders, issue number 3 by Black Caravan, who is, I believe, a part of Scout Comics, something like that. I don't know the whole deal here, but I finally got issue 3 and 4, and I'm enjoying this series a lot. And this is also a very good, issue. I think the weakest part. Well, I'm gonna talk about the weakest part and the good part in a bit. Let's dive in. So if you want to know what's going on, check out my issue 1 and 2 of We Don't Kill Spiders on my YouTube channel. Please give me a like and a sub if you haven't done so. I really appreciate it if you would do. And it's going to help me a lot. So basically, we're going back in time now because Bjorn, who is the detective that wants to find a killer that's in a Viking camp, we see a part of his story. Now, this is way back, and this is a raiding party of Vikings coming to quote unquote the civilization. When people are with Christian land. If you saw the TV series Vikings, the first 2 or 3, maybe 4 seasons. I mean, I love the whole every season. I just watched them from beginning to the end. But there was a time that the Vikings gonna raid England, I believe, and there was a small town with a church, and they're gonna raid it. Well, it's happening here as well. It's made by writer in art is Joseph Schmalke, if I'm not saying that correctly, and his writing is spot on. He's really good. He says, "As the storm rolled in, the other man claimed." I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. As the storm rolled in, the other man claimed it was a gift from Odin himself. When lightning cracked overhead, they thought it was Thor's hammer striking the heavens. The man felt they were being watched and measured, and they would not fail their gods. He says, "Our gods were born of blood and violence to keep their favor. They demanded more of the same. We have to come to deliver on their needs." Wow, great stuff. And I thought this was Bjorn, but it seems that this is Eric, his brother, and this is Bjorn as a young boy, going on Viking raids, killing men. And the narrative says, "Those that didn't worship our great pantheon were viewed as lesser and weak, fodder for our divine master, and we despised them, and we were to despise them." My brother Eric, this guy, viewed them as subhuman. Eric was a true believer, the kind of man who knew one day he would die on glorious battle. But Bjorn, as he is going to butcher this defenseless man, he says, "All I could see was needless death and destruction, a cruel end for a devout man that continued with his prayer. His God, like ours, was never going to answer." And so his brothers say, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you so squeamish, etc." He says, "You are you are a Viking. You need to be strong and willing to kill in name of Odin," something like that. And he also says, "Bjorn, don't be soft." And he says, "Let's come find some more blood to sate Odin's appetite." And he and the other raiding parties are starting killing men and pillaging the village and raping women. He says, Bjorn in his head says at the time, "Watching us act like wild animals, tearing apart others' lives for sport, I would not believe in divine spirits that would put us here just to rape and run. It was violence for violence sake. I didn't see devout man. I see nothing more than chaos and the waste of human life." So basically, when he was raiding party, he just stopped, because there was a time that he was doubting his faith, and he just walked away from it all. He doesn't want to do. He became basically more an atheist, if you can say that in that time. And he didn't believe in the supernatural. He didn't believe in gods and Odin and Christ and other superstitious stuff according to him. But now here, back in reality, in the black, in this hall of the Jarl, he saw that the Jarl was, transforming themselves into werewolves, killing demons, and he was meeting a witch that does witchcraft. He saw a demon try to take his life. So he has, discovered that there's more to life than, being devout to a god when it comes to beliefs. And he was, so the Jarl says, are you haunted, Bjorn? Did your thought lead you elsewhere? And he says, I was somewhere far away in a different time. So basically they are speaking about past events, about that killer still being loose. And he says, the Jarl says to Bjorn, I would imagine your beliefs has been challenged. What do you believe now? And Bjorn says, I do not know. But when Revna awakes, perhaps I have the answers I seek. Revna is the witch woman that helped him to, try to find out who the killer is and who is making a deal with demons, because there is something coming as well. Now, they talk more. They talk about the demon that's been devoured. They talk about the Jarl here says, talking about taking what they want. And basically they're having a discussion about faith and morality, if you will. And he also offers his concubine, if you will, his let's say, thrall, because that's what she is. He's going to do the bidding of the Jarl. Basically, Jarl did something to her and her people, and now she is, devoted to what the Jarl wants, if you know what I mean. And but Bjorn says, no offense, but I prefer a willing woman. So he's not going to take the woman for the night. Also, he says, Bjorn, I can tell you, you think we are wicked men, but make no mistake, we are exceptional compared to those who conquer. Why should we not take what we want for lesser people? I heard that speech before, says Bjorn. Men who dominate others need to find a way to sleep at night. Sharp writing is excellent. He says, I suppose there is some truth in what you speak, but as you pointed out, we aren't really men, aren't we? Not all, and he basically says that not all men in the village is cursed. And so that means that the killer, in his specific group here, those are supernatural beings except Bjorn and probably the thrall. She says, so the killer is human, and they have to investigate that. Meanwhile, Revna is on a different plane of existence. I'm not sure if this is a dream or she's been actually, her spirit is maybe on some kind of an astral plane, and she is meeting with her god, and that's I believe the Queen of Shadows, if I'm correctly. And it's a little bit dark, but basically the Queen of Dark knows that she's a devout believer, and in the last issue she has slain the demon that wants to kill Revna, and they question this headless corpse. Well, basically the other way around. It's just a head. He says, tell me, says the Queen, the red depth, who has made the pact for it? He says, I cannot tell it because if I'm doing it, I'm going to be tortured, but he's already dead. So she says, if you not do what I say, your suffering will be thousandfold or something like that. And he's just spilled the beans. He says, the black goat, goat of the wood. And so the Queen is opening a portal, looking to the goat, the black goat, wants to find him, wants to know who it is. But then it seems that somehow the goat looks back and he says, can it see us? Well, she says, no, that's not possible. But then a hand reaches out and catches Revna. And we see some really cool psychedelic stuff, like you see in the 60s with all these swirlies around. I love that. And the goat god or something. The queen basically says that it's not really a god, it's an anti-god. And it says that if you are, let's say many people have been wronged in the name of gods, and they want to have revenge. So basically they are praying to an anti-god to seek the revenge on gods. That's actually pretty cool. And she says, you shouldn't spy, little witch. It's not polite. And it says, your queen of shadows is a broken shadow, but I am the darkness. And she says that she cannot be stopped, and there's legions out there that, that are coming. But before she can do anything, she is waking up. And the thrall is there, try to comfort her. And she says, lay still, and I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to grab something. So she's brewing some stuff here, and she also talks later to the thrall. I'm not sure what her name is, by the way. Is it here? Not really. I don't know. Maybe I'm. But she also has been, a little bit stressed that she lost the connection to the Queen of Shadows, and she wants to come back, but she still doesn't have an answer except a name. The goats, the black goats. Let's see. Do I say that correctly? Yes, the black goats. And she says, this woman says, don't work yourself up. I don't know who the queen is, but the men will be happy to hear that you are awake. Okay, so she gives her some brewery but then she sees also some kind of a mark on her hands. She says, oh, you are thrall of the Jarl. I'm sorry. She says, don't be. The Jarl and his raiders burnt my home and killed my families in front of my eyes, then defiled me for days and dragged me here into shackles. So yeah, even though that the Jarl is, quote unquote, ask Bjorn to find out who the killer is, he is not really a good guy. But, in those times, who actually is, when it comes to Vikings, they are very, like the comic says, a devout group of people. They do everything in the name of Odin and the Norse gods. She says, but I wasn't the only one, you see. There was, basically she said there's also others like her. And then, with us came traditions, our beliefs, our medicines, and our gods. She said, what did you put in this? Something to dull your senses. And then I came to the realizations that with this face here, the faces and the when it comes to the characters looks really good. Everything else in the background looks not really good, but I'm gonna talk a little bit that in a second. So she says, you are calling in the Red Dead. You are the other witch. And basically this woman is a little bit surprised that she says that because she was hoping that she is coming to her side because of what the Jarl did to her family. But she says, I cannot for the Jarl and his men. You are killing innocent people, and I cannot let you do that. But the woman says, these innocents will grow into men that will do more of the same. I will not allow that. Well, that's a little bit, that's actually, yeah, that's a little, I'm not sure, I want to say conundrum, but that's probably the wrong word. But there's a ring of truth to that, because the kids are going, being raised as Vikings, raiding, pillaging, raping, etc. So yeah, I can see where she's coming from, and that's the reason I like the writing so much. They explore different sides, but there has to be some kind of a bad guy here, and unfortunately, she is that. She says, "You are a monster, no better than what you seek to destroy." So Bjorn wants to know how Revna is doing. So she's going to her quarters, and he hears the sounds behind what's going on. So he opens the door, breaking the door, and she says, "Let her go, or so help me." And she says, "So what are you gonna do? You're gonna kill me?" And back away, or I'll open her throat. And that's the end of this book. And I must say, the writing again, spot on, and it leads into this one. I have that. So basically, we now know who the killer really is. It's great stuff. I'm also a little bit curious to this one. But I can imagine that people are not attracted to this comic, not when it comes to writing, but more like the art. The art is, well, you have to, yeah, it's hard to say, because this is an instant that, what is more important, good looking art or great writing? Of course, the mix is the most important thing, but I have a lot of shitty comics with great, fantastic art that is also on my channel. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, explore my channel and you probably see some pretty shitty comics with real good looking art. This is basically the other way around. I like the art because I just looked a little bit past it now that I've been, reading issue 3 now. But when it comes to interiors, it's also these, scratchy lines on the back here. It's not really much detail and it's all been muffled away. It's very black. Not that I dislike that, but as you can see, there is nothing much going on. There's enough going on in this panel that you can distinguish from, hey, these are 2 guys sitting in some kind of a room. There's a fire, here's a chair, but when it comes to everything else around it, it's pretty meager. And I discussed that as well in the last issue. It's here as well. It's not much going on when it comes to background. It's just more, doodling, if you can say that. I like this one. I don't think it's really belonging in there, but it has a cool visual, just like this one. I really hate this Photoshop that has been in modern comics nowadays. But when it comes to this, yeah, I see great stuff. But this facial expression looks really cool. This dark face, this evil face. I like that. So yeah, I can see why people don't like it, because you have to be, how do you say, the first thing that attracts people to comics is the visuals. But I try to learn to look past that, and this was a gamble, and it pays off. I really enjoyed this series, so I'm glad I picked it up. So issue 4 is coming soon, guys. Stick around, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.